One of the great rewards we experience working in veterinary medicine is our ability to have a positive impact on the lives of pets, clients, and those we work with. When you begin to assume management responsibilities, you may initially feel disconnected from the rewards of directly interacting with patients, clients, and sometimes the staff. It is important, however, that as a manager or administrator, you always remember that everything you do has a direct impact on every part of the veterinary practice. While you may not be the person speaking directly to a client or administering a medication to a patient, you will actually be able to increase the quantity of lives you have a positive influence on, because the goal of management is to accomplish objectives or goals through individuals or groups of individuals. You, as a manager, set the example. People will rarely remember what you say, but they will always remember what you do. Hospital managers and administrators are the team leaders, captains, and coaches. You, by the very position you hold, set the tone for the entire team. Your team watches your standards towards many of the following: your attitude towards ownership and clients. They observe your diligence in getting your work done. They see what time you get to work and what time you leave at the end of the day. They see how much you care for the animals. They see your attitude as you tackle tasks that aren't much fun. They see your attention to your dress and personal hygiene. They see the priority you place on cleanliness. And they see how you treat fellow employees. From these standards will come the attitudes and actions of every staff member. Don't expect higher standards than you are willing to emulate yourself. The first step of managing is setting the example. The second step is to motivate those employees around you. Motivation might be best defined as inspiring others towards a desired outcome. This is not an easy endeavor. It requires a careful assessment of those individuals you wish to motivate and constantly observing what inspires them. What is it that causes their face to light up and their energy to rise? Money? Praise? A particular duty or job? Working closely with the animals? Time off? Interacting with other people? You must first identify what inspires a person before you can actively work at keeping that individual motivated. The tendency of new managers is often that of dictatorship. Valuable managers are not dictators. The era of "do it this way because I said" has been proven to be ineffective in today's work environment. Such domineering behavior may at first appear to achieve the desired outcome, but it will quickly deflate the morale and performance of those beneath it. Today, we influence the behavior of those we work with by understanding what motivates them and directing behavior towards the desired outcome. When employees are properly motivated toward the desired outcome, their performance and attitude clearly reflect it. When leading your team, be a motivator, not a dictator. The next step toward becoming an effective manager or administrator is the need to clearly communicate your expectations. Never assume those you are leading inherently know what you're expecting of them. Learn to communicate your performance expectations in a professional and non-degrading manner. This begins with a well-organized policy and procedures manual that includes detailed job descriptions for each employee or position in the hospital. These job descriptions accurately identify what is expected of employees in their new job. This should be discussed during each employee's orientation. Employees that have a clear sense of what is expected of them are often more secure and able to excel within their area of responsibility. This communication of expectations must be continued throughout their employment. As new responsibilities arise, take time to communicate your expectations. Most managers are exceptionally hard workers. You probably were promoted to this position because you could get things done. Many practice managers have difficulty giving up tasks they have previously excelled at doing. As a manager, however, your approach must change. You can no longer do everything yourself. There's too much to accomplish. Your focus now is to achieve the goals and meet the needs of the practice through others. Delegating is the art of distributing and overseeing the many tasks that must be done in order for the veterinary hospital to operate efficiently. Delegating means that sometimes things may get accomplished in a different manner than if you had done it yourself. Though this is sometimes a difficult realization, it must inevitably occur if you are to manage efficiently. For example, we all know that a cage has 6 sides to it. You may be the best cage cleaner in your practice. In teaching others how to clean a cage, you may demonstrate your method so they can learn what tricks you have that make you successful at this task. However, as the manager, your goal is that the cage be cleaned. The method someone else uses may vary slightly from yours, but if the goal is accomplished and the cage is clean, then you as the manager have accomplished your goal. There are other tasks that will require a certain step-by-step process be followed. Your job is to know the difference between when the goal of the end product is being accomplished and when it is not. Sometimes this will require a step-by-step method, but other times it will not. When delegating, it is important that you understand why this task needs to be done, what the goal or desired outcome of the task is, who is responsible for doing the task, and what resources are available to them to help them in learning or completing the task. Another key part of helping the staff understand what the desired results or goals of a task are is to help them also understand the consequences that arise when something is done incorrectly. For example, failure to obtain a telephone contact number of a client who leaves their pet at the hospital could create significant problems for a doctor, technician, or any other staff member that may be working with that pet during the day. Being effective at delegation is not easy. However, this ability will be very important to your success as a practice manager or administrator. The role of the practice manager requires complete dedication to the practice. Veterinary practice managers must adopt the mental attitude that the practice is theirs. They manage the business as if they owned it. This perspective is necessary because many of your responsibilities are those traditionally held by the owner. In order for you to approach these tasks with a proper perspective, you must step into the shoes of the owner. The manager or administrator should start with a very clear definition of their responsibilities and authority. Even the manager needs a good job description. Review the following list to determine who in your practice is responsible for each of these areas. Maintenance of veterinary medical records, accounts receivable maintenance and collection, cash control and internal control system implementation and monitoring, procurement of administrative and practice supplies and equipment, supervision of the client services provided, inventory control, personnel management and record keeping, management of financial statements and analyzing these statements, coordination of staff training for doctors and support staff, maintenance and support of the computer system, both hardware and software, facility and equipment maintenance and repair, and supervision of marketing, reminder systems, recalls, and marketing programs. It is important that you know what your specific areas of responsibility are and what authority in those areas you have. Then you need to know yourself well enough in order to understand whether or not you can perform what you're being asked to do. You may be responsible for all of the above-mentioned areas of management in your veterinary practice, or you may share some of the managerial duties with others, such as the owners or staff veterinarians. As you may be aware, many of the tasks previously mentioned could be done half-heartedly, without a spirit of ownership. Performing collection duties, for example, needs to take place with the perspective that the client owes this hospital money and I have a sense of ownership for this hospital. This sense of ownership should never become so strong that you truly believe that you own the practice, but it will help you to take your job and your responsibilities more seriously. Your concern for cutting unnecessary expenses and improving profits will become blatantly obvious to those you work with and for.